Chapter 31 The Prospects of Treatment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There was no hatred between Han Tao and Tang San, but under the interests, there was no right or wrong, there was no high-sounding excuse for wanting to plan the immortal grass, wanting to obtain the blue-silver emperor soul bone, and hunting the blue-silver king. Pure interests guided his behavior. After thinking, Han Tao turned to Yi Lingling again. The depth of treatment lies in the microscopic, which is a repair of meridians and hidden injuries. But the development of treatment is not limited to this, and the effect of treatment should not be limited to the body. No other reason, Han Tao was very satisfied with Yi Lingling's martial soul evolution theory. Treatment is not limited to the body. Yi Lingling's short blue hair fluttered slightly, and her eyes flashed with curiosity. Han Tao smiled faintly and responded. This is just a guess, you can try to verify. Can the Soul Master's soul power and spirit be treated by the nine-heart begonia? Yes, Han Tao thought so. If a healing Soul Master can only restore the body, then what kind of healing Soul Master is it? Let alone high-level skills such as gene repair, martial soul completion, and life and death reversal, at least you have to master the recovery methods of the three basic attributes of physique, soul power, and spirit. Recovery of soul power and spirit. Yi Lingling covered her lips in disbelief. Han Tao's words seemed to broaden her brain and her vision suddenly broadened. Can it be like this? I am not a soul master specializing in treatment, and these dimensions have not been verified, so this is just a suggestion for you. You can try to use your own martial soul to explore this aspect. Han Tao only mentioned the research direction slightly. Han Tao has his own selfish desires. He hopes that Yi Lingling can explore ways to treat the spirit. The book in his hand, Distraction Control Method Concentration Convergence inlaid with gold edges, has been gathering dust for a long time. If there is a soul skill to restore the spirit, then the difficulty of developing this secret method will be greatly reduced. Once mental treatment is developed, the difficulty of absorbing the 10,000-year soul ring will be greatly reduced. In this way, the status of healing soul masters, especially those who have mastered mental healing, will no longer be shaken. Han Tao is ready to leave. Yi Lingling's expression is a little tangled. When Han Tao was about to leave, she gritted her teeth and shouted, "Wait!" Han Tao turned his head and looked at Yi Lingling with some doubts. I went too far last time. I apologize to you. Yi Lingling hesitated, and her fingers kept nodding in front of her chest. You should have seen the secret method of the nine-heart begonia. When the martial soul, rank, breaks through, it needs the energy provided by falling red. She did not tell Han Tao how falling red was used, but what she said verified Han Tao's guess. Being able to give this key clue already represents her sincerity. The reason for the entanglement may be that Yi Junlan did not allow her to say this. Thank you for telling me. Hearing her reminder, Han Tao did not stop and left with a satisfied smile. Han Tao was stopped by the guards at the door just after he returned to the Seven Treasures glazed sect. Han Tao, come with me. Following the guard's lead, Han Tao came to the small dark room. Bang. The door was closed. The charge was that Han Tao had affected the reputation of the Seven Treasures glazed sect. Yes, the incident last year affected the reputation of the sect, and now they are starting to hold him accountable. It seems outrageous, but these are just superficial reasons. The most fundamental reason is that Han Tao made Ning Rongrong cry, and Douluo and Douluo were very angry. As we all know, title Douluo is unreasonable. After Han Tao and Ning Tian went back, Douluo and Douluo hurried to comfort Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong kept crying. So the two Douluos became more and more angry, and they couldn't bear it anymore. Damn it, he must be locked up for half a month. Half a month is not enough, at least 2 months, let them learn their lesson. At this moment, Sect Master Ning came over. He did not help his apprentice to plead for mercy, because Han Tao sold the deep treatment. He knew that everything in the sect could not be hidden from his eyes. How about this, Sword Douluo, you lock him up for half a month, Bone Douluo, you lock him up for 2 months, a total of 2.5 months. Yes. No, the two Douluos shouted at the same time. Ning Fengji looked at Sword Douluo in confusion. Correction, it is Bone Douluo who locks him up for half a month, and I lock him up for 2 months. Figure out the priorities. Old bones, Ning Rongrong's expression was made to me last time, you have to step back a little. Last time I made a profit, can't you let me this time? Ning Fengji ignored the fight between the two strange Douluos, but issued the order of the sect master to capture Han Tao and Ning Tian and lock them up. You are here. A voice came from the dark room, the light was too dim, and Han Tao couldn't really see his face. Are you Ning Tian? Han Tao could guess his identity. I don't know what I did wrong to be locked up here. If Xiao Hong knew, she would be sad, and Xiaolan, Ayun, Inyur. He didn't answer Han Tao, but he actually answered. Ning Tian, I have read your masterpiece. I heard that you are very knowledgeable about love affairs. Ning Tian responded, of course. There are 7 clubs in Tiando City, and my son Ning is a member of all of them. Nodding, Han Tao recognized that Ning Tian had some strength in this area. After this time, can you help me get some whale glue? Ning Tian was a little surprised. Whale glue is a less popular type of aphrodisiac, and its effect is far inferior. Ning Tian talked about his expertise in the field, but Han Tao's meaning was very clear. He wanted whale glue, nothing else. Whale glue, a special substance in the brain of a whale, can strengthen the meridians, muscles and bones of a soul master, and is the best choice for absorbing soul rings across levels. The dark environment is the most thought-provoking. Han Tao has just obtained the method of martial soul evolution, and there is a very important one in it. Understanding the essence of martial soul is the first and most important and core item of martial soul evolution. If you can't understand the essence of martial soul, you can't even find the direction of evolution. If you can't understand the essence of martial soul, how can you control your own power? So, what is the essence of blue-silver grass? At first, Han Tao thought it was treatment, because the soul skill of the blue-silver king's right leg bone was this, and his first soul ring also chose this direction. However, this is not the answer, it is just the puzzle of the blue-silver king. In terms of vitality, blue-silver grass is not as good as fluorescent grass. In terms of treatment, blue-silver grass is not as good as 9-heart begonia. In terms of growth, blue-silver grass is not as good as lone bamboo. What is the real core of blue-silver grass, and what kind of ability needs treatment and enhancement? The powerful perception attribute is the innate talent of blue-silver grass. What kind of core ability needs perception? Perception, treatment, and enhancement are all the help of blue-silver grass. After thinking about it, Han Tao seemed to be close to the truth. In the long night, the answer was like a light, shining into Han Tao's heart. Chapter 32: The Essence of the Martial Soul. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. What is the true nature of blue-silver grass? The sea is open to all rivers and inclusive. No, to be more precise, call it adaptation that the blazing fire has never turned into ashes. The wisp of blue-silver in the blazing fire will transform into the resistance of fire. It is bitingly cold and has never been frozen into powder. The blue-silver grass in the extreme cold will naturally evolve the endurance of ice, as long as the sharp blades of swords, guns, axes and heavy hammers, as well as tangible external injuries, cannot be completely destroyed. The blue and silver grass that will grow back after healing will become tough and strong. Yes, this is adaptation, physics, elements, poison, soul power, evil, murderous intent. Any attribute is within the category of adaptation, except external forces. Adapt to external forces, and strengthen your martial soul. This is the evolution path of blue-silver grass, and it is also a broad road opened by Han Tao after he understood the essence of martial arts. 7-hearted begonia is one of the puzzle pieces of blue-silver grass. Why? If Lan Yinchao wants to evolve its martial soul, it must find a way to adapt to foreign elements. Let's take the fire element as an example. When adapting to the flame, you will inevitably be burned by the flame. It will take a very long time to recover from the injured martial soul. Joshin Haitang is currently the #1 healing spirit in the Spirit Master world. Its origin is healing. With the help of Joshin Begonia, the evolution speed of blue-silver grass will be greatly improved. Therefore, it makes perfect sense for it to serve as the puzzle for the blue-silver king. The 7 treasures glazed pagoda is also one of the puzzle pieces of blue-silver grass. Why? After all, Jiuxin begonia and blue silver grass have some plant-like similarities. There is no connection between weapon spirit and blue silver grass, right? The core ability of the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda is to comprehensively increase the soul master's attributes and increase the upper limit of the soul's endurance. The higher the upper limit of tolerance, the faster the evolution speed. Een eats the grain and borrows the chicken to lay eggs. That's all. Let the blue silver grass soul master, at a low level, have the evolution speed of a high level. Therefore, the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda is also the core puzzle of the blue silver king. And it is equally reasonable. Bang. There was a sound from the long-closed door. In the darkness of the long night, a blooming light appeared. Was it Han Tao's understanding of the essence of Wuhuan that gave birth to the light of hope? No, this light comes from reality. Han Tao and Ning Tian raised their heads slightly toward the door, trying hard to open their eyes just a slit to adapt to the sudden light. Sect Master. The guard's respectful address came from outside the door. The master is here. Han Tao made a judgment. Ning Tian stood at a loss. Using his soul power, the 7 treasure glazed tile tower appeared from Ning Fengji's hand, and 2 rays of gain light fell on Han Tao. I'm curious, what kind of bait did Yi Junlan give you to exchange the theory of in-depth treatment in vain for the interests of the sect? That he hesitated for 2 steps. Even if I have given you a hint, you still make such a decision. Yes, this was a decision Han Tao made after careful consideration. How to evolve martial souls. Han Tao told the truth. Taking a deep breath, he stared at the wall, a little disappointment flashing in his eyes. You're so confused. How to evolve martial souls? Do you think Yi Junlan has mastered these? As a large sect like our Qibao glazed sect, with hundreds of years of accumulation, do you think she doesn't know these theories? That the information given by Yi Junlan was wrong. Ning Fengji has long known the method of martial soul evolution in her hands, otherwise, she would not have given it so easily. However, they have evolved their martial souls into Jiuxin begonia. 9 Heart begonia evolved from 7-star begonia. The 7 treasures glazed pagoda is still the 7 treasures glazed pagoda. Since you have learned about the evolution of martial souls from them, you should know that there is a key to the evolution of martial souls, which is to master the origin of martial souls. 7-star begonia, there is begonia flower at the origin of Wuhuan, and there is also 9-heart begonia at the top of the level. But what about our 7 treasures glazed pagoda? There are no 7 treasures glazed monsters on the Douluo continent, and there are no defense tower soul beasts. There is no way to strengthen the origin of the 7 treasures glazed pagoda and break through the level restrictions. Ning Fengji's face turned red and he looked a little angry. He was angry, on the one hand, because Han Tao had traded deep treatment, and on the other hand, because Han Tao had clearly mastered the theory. So why did he still question himself like this? Embarrassing yourself is nothing, ignorance is the problem. Teacher, do you know that there is something called fairy grass on Douluo continent? Han Tao suddenly interrupted Ning Fengji's anger. The angry expression turned into confusion in an instant, and then into curiosity. Xian Chao, where did you get the knowledge? Han Tao didn't say anything. He couldn't explain the origin of immortal grass. I do know a kind of fairy grass, it seems to be called. Ning Fengji seemed to be recalling and thinking, but in the end he gave the answer. Acacia red, the most sacred treasure among the fairy grass. The subsequent word stopped abruptly, and Ning Fengji's expression turned cold and she stared at Han Tao. Looking at the master's expression, Han Tao couldn't help but feel strange. Could it be that what is said in the wild history of Douluo are all true? 7 stars Haitang Soul Master and Qibao Glazed Pagoda Soul Master got into a fight because of a dispute over something. Who was the Blue Silver King Soul Master thinking about when he was picking the lovesickness? That what is wild history? It means that no matter how accurate the history is, it must be wild enough. Among the fairy grass, there is an existence called Chilua Tulip, which can help the 7 treasures glazed pagoda break the restrictions. Chilua Tulip. Ning Fengji shook his head. Even with his profound experience, he had never heard of this kind of fairy grass. Yes, the king of fairy grass, Chilua Tulip. Is this what Yi Junlan told you? He asked doubtfully. Of course not, teacher. Why do you think she would tell me this? That when answering, Han Tao looked at the master with a strange look. Teacher, this is not at your level. Well, the teacher believes in you. Since you know that this kind of fairy grass exists in this world, do you have any clues about it? Han Tao glanced at the small black room and smiled. Ning Fengji understood Han Tao's statement and DouluoDalu's clues, which were at another price. The sect has been sorting out some knowledge recently. You happen to have nothing to do here, so why not come over and help me? He first spoke to Han Tao, then turned to the guard and told the guard, I will take Han Tao away first. You can register him. Ning Fengji is the leader of the Qibao glazed sect, so he certainly has the right to take Han Tao away. Moreover, his methods are more delicate than those of title Douluo, and there is no fault in the rules. Yes, Han Tao predicted the current situation when he agreed to Yi Junlan, using the theory of deep treatment. I got the news of martial soul evolution from Yi Lingling, use the clues of DouluoDalu to rescue yourself from the small dark room of Qibao glazed sect. DouluoDalu has the ability to distinguish the material properties of heaven and earth spirits, and can reduce the strength of plant soul beasts by half. It is the key to mastering the Blue Silver King. In fact, Han Tao went to his master directly and had a chance to get the method of martial soul evolution from him, but the existence of the Luohong secret method made Han Tao a little hesitant. Chapter 33 Pharmacology. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Han Tao, Uncle, I want to go out too. Uncle, I reject Ning Rongrong, but you arranged it yourself, so you can't leave me alone. When Ning Fengji was about to leave with Han Tao, Ning Tian was naturally unhappy. He suddenly bumped into him, maybe because his body was a little weak, his steps were unsteady and he fell to the ground, but he didn't feel embarrassed, but stretched out his hands to hug the sect leader's thigh. Han Tao, this is all Han Tao's fault. He was the first to reject Ning Rongrong. If he had agreed, Ning Rongrong would not have come to me later, so I was imprisoned. It was purely unjust. Ning Fengji put away his hand, patted his robe and said, Stop yelling, I'll just lock you up for 2.5 months. If you have time to cry, why not study the contents on the book list carefully? While talking, Ning Fengji came to the side of the small dark room and opened the hidden window in the room. Han Tao was stunned. It turns out there are windows here. Ning Tian doesn't want to study, so of course he won't tell Han Tao about the window. If you don't believe it, look at how dark and beautiful this room is. As the light shines in, the furnishings in the small dark room can be seen at a glance. An extremely precious rosewood desk exudes a light woody fragrance, calming the mind. Several chairs surround the desk, and some books are placed on the table. The original intention of the existence of the small black room is to allow sect disciples to study and think, not to torture them. When the windows are closed, the whole house will be plunged into darkness. This is the most clear-headed environment. Even the sect master will come to this room to realize enlightenment at certain times. Why did it become torture when we got to Ningtian? That's good. If you can pass the next examination of the Temple Guardian Elder, you will naturally be released. After hearing the sect leader's promise, Ning Tian felt satisfied and smiled. Of course, Ning Tian cannot pass the assessment by relying on himself, but he can rely on the efforts of the elders guarding the palace. While happy, Ning Tian seemed to have forgotten something. In the small black room of the Qibao glazed sect, no, more accurately, it was the enlightenment room, where Han Tao understood the nature of his martial spirit in a relatively simple way. The essence of blue silver grass is adaptation. If you want to use this essence to promote the evolution of the martial soul, the help of the master and Yi Lingling is indispensable. Lawn silver grass, can we only adapt passively? An inspiration suddenly emerged. Is there any way to let blue silver grass take the initiative to acquire these characteristics? Blue silver grass is a plant. Theoretical breakthroughs come from the accumulation of knowledge. If you want to have a deeper understanding of the essence of martial arts, botany knowledge is essential. Botany and pharmacology can both promote the future development of blue silver grass. After coming out of the small dark room, Han Tao was taken to the sect leader's mansion. DouluoDalu, do you know where this fairy grass can be found? As soon as Ning Fengji returned here, he asked Han Tao. Han Tao rolled his eyes and said, Teacher, DouluoDalu is a fairy grass, not the kind you understand. Break the leaves and put them in your mouth, and the martial soul will naturally transform. First you have to know what this fairy grass looks like, what properties it has, how to pick it, and finally find its location. The appearance of plant essences and his studies at Tiando Royal Academy made Han Tao think deeply. Some elements in herbs and medicinal materials can help the soul master, but as the saying goes, medicine is three-part poison. Not all microscopic elements in medicinal materials can be absorbed by the soul master. Why are herbal essences a refining and fusion of medicinal materials, instead of just stuffing the raw materials into your mouth? It's not just that the medicinal materials contain toxicity. The neutralization of various medicinal materials can reduce the impact of toxins, especially those that act on the human body. This is true for ordinary medicinal materials, not to mention the immortal grass that can be called a great medicine. What kind of medicinal material can be called immortal grass? It has extremely strong, unimaginable and unparalleled medicinal properties. Even a titled Douluo may not be able to completely absorb a fairy grass. Star anise grass and fire apricots can be taken at the same time to neutralize the toxicity of the two grasses under mutual restraint. Crystal blood dragon ginseng can assist in absorbing the medicinal effects of acacia broken heart red. So is there some way to refine the jelly grass into elixirs? When taking Chiloa tulip, is it possible to use some adjuvants to resolve the huge poison in the grass jelly or increase the absorption of the medicinal properties? Our Qibao glazed sect needs to recruit some people who understand pharmacology, or develop our own sect's pharmacology. Han Tao had learned a lot of theoretical knowledge in the sect, and of course he knew what was lacking in the sect's theoretical system. The Qibao glazed sect's pharmacology research is even less in-depth than the Tiando Royal Academy. At least in Tiando Royal Academy, medicinal materials have a promoting effect on meridians and cultivation. Pharmacology. Ning Fengji touched his beard, seeing the sect leader's hesitation. Han Tao added from the side. Elixirs can assist soul masters in their cultivation. Ambrosia needs pharmacological support. Is Qibao glazed sect rich? He is quite rich and inhumane. He has so much money that he doesn't know how to spend it. So Han Tao decided to help Master find a way. The best way to achieve your own goals is to align the interests of others with your own goals. Ning Fengji has no needs, so create needs for him. The fairy grass Chiloa tulip created a need for pharmacology for him. Studying pharmacology will bring huge benefits. If you know pharmacology, wealth can be converted into training speed, and whale glue can be converted into physical strength. Even if you don't know pharmacology, whale glue can also strengthen the body. But who knows if this thing has any side effects? Okay. Ning Fengji agreed. The Seven Treasures glazed tiles sect is not short of money, and investing in pharmacology is not a big problem. The Pei clan, one of the four major single attribute clans, has a clan leader, Yang Wudi, who is very proficient in pharmacology. You can try to recruit him. In Douluo continent, if you want to say who knows the fairy grass, Tang San is one. And there are two people who may know it. One is Ju Douluo, whose martial soul is Chirong Tong Tianju, which is a fairy grass itself. Ju Douluo's martial soul is a fairy grass, and he is a title Douluo, and he has the authority to access the information of the spirit hall. When it comes to his own interests, he will definitely conduct theoretical research, just like Ning Fengji never cared about the data errors and omissions of low-level plant soul masters, because it has nothing to do with him and there is no need to study it. But if a special soul beast appears in the weapon spirit, and there is a successful case in the soul master world, Ning Fengji will follow this clue to study it, no matter how small the clue is. Another one is Yang Wudi. Is he studying pharmacology purely for hobby? It's because his spirit, the soul-breaking spear, has a spirit defect and can't break through the title Douluo, so he thought of starting with pharmacology. His younger brother Yang Wushuang joined the spirit hall, and the colorful chronic poison that Emperor Shuiyi was hit with was from his hand. The Pei clan, their life is not easy now. Ning Fengji nodded. The Pei clan is proficient in pharmacology, which is common sense in the soul master world. It costs money to study pharmacology. The Pei clan has no money, but my Qibao Liuli sect has money, very rich, inhumanely rich. Chapter 34, Beginning of Evolution. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Why did Han Tao suddenly become so interested in pharmacology? Because he understood the essence of the spirit of blue silver grass, or to be more specific, as long as you have a plant spirit, as long as you have a little pursuit for the future, you should study plants and pharmacology. Manager Ning was responsible for recruiting the Pi clan, and most of the external events of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect were handled by him. In this matter, Han Tao withdrew a small part of the money, which was a drop in the bucket for the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. But it was an unexpected fortune for himself. After dealing with these trivial matters, Han Tao began to think of ways to strengthen his spirit. In Nodding City, the grass supplier welcomed two soul masters. It was Han Tao and Yi Lingling. The owner of this grass supplier was a middle-aged man, and also a 19th level blue-silver grass soul master. Before selecting the spirit ring, Han Tao had discussed the theory with many plant spirit masters, and he was just one of them. This time Han Tao came here mainly to conduct some tests to verify whether the spirit essence he had comprehended was correct. To trigger adaptation, you first need to injure your own martial soul. You can't use yourself as an experiment. The middle-aged shop owner's need for livelihood is obviously greater than his need for martial soul and future. When Han Tao paid enough, he agreed to help Han Tao test, how much is the future of a 19th level blue-silver grass soul master worth? 2 portions of plant essence, 1,000 gold soul coins. This is the reward given by Han Tao, but it is the money that the middle-aged shop owner has not earned in half a lifetime. Blue-silver grass, that he summoned his martial soul. Han Tao took out a knife and cut at his martial soul. The middle-aged man avoided his eyes and dared not see his martial soul injured. The blue-silver grass was not completely cut off because Han Tao controlled the strength. This is just a test, not to break his martial soul. First soul skill, treatment, that Yi Lingling also summoned his martial soul and used soul power to treat the blue-silver grass. Second soul skill, healing. Third soul skill, vitality, that there is a certain fit between the 9-heart begonia and the blue-silver grass, and the scars of this blue-silver grass began to heal. A very small bright color appeared between the wounds of the martial soul, which was very slight. Han Tao was satisfied, which undoubtedly verified his guess. Next, Han Tao used fire, poison, ice, wind, thunder, and other elements to conduct multiple tests, and recorded the changes of the blue-silver grass in great detail. These records only confirmed the direction, and the data was not accurate, because this is someone else's martial soul, not your own. There are limitations to perceiving other people's martial souls. After all kinds of tests, adaptation is the essence of the blue-silver grass, and the verification passed. Thank you very much for your help. This is your reward. Han Tao was very happy, and he handed the porcelain bottle containing the essence of plants and gold soul coins to the middle-aged shopkeeper. Thank you very much for your help. He said this to Yi Lingling. Yi Lingling came to help with the test, but Han Tao didn't give her any reward, and she didn't care about that little reward. Why did she come to help? Because at this moment, their interests are the same. The blue-silver king is the puzzle of the 7-star begonia. Knowing its lower-level martial soul and the martial soul nature of the blue-silver grass may help the 9-heart begonia. Han Tao will not tell her the martial soul nature of the blue-silver grass. Even if he tells her, she may not believe it. It is better to let her see it for herself. Whether she can find it depends on her understanding. Theory is established, practice begins. First, start with pure external damage. Summon the martial soul, take out the knife, and give a shallow knife to the tip of the martial soul. Quick, treat, give treatment. A smile appeared on Yi Lingling's face. First soul skill, treatment. First soul skill, fluorescence. Compared to the middle-aged shop owner, Han Tao's operation of his martial soul is much more meticulous. He recorded the changes of his martial soul before, after, and at different stages of treatment. In addition, he cut his blue-silver grass very evenly, ensuring that every part and every position of the blue-silver grass martial soul must complete the adaptive transformation. External damage is generally divided into 4 types: cutting, impact, penetration, and extrusion. After recovery, these 4 types have different directions for strengthening the blue-silver grass. The trauma caused by cutting increases the hardness of the epidermis, and the impact damage caused by blunt instruments can enhance the toughness of the martial soul. Xiao Yuan's gravity pressure can form extrusion trauma. This kind of injury adaptation can increase the activity of the blue-silver grass. Piercing injuries are the most difficult to recover. Even if the martial soul is penetrated and not broken, it takes up to several months to recover, but at the same time, after the recovery of penetrating injuries, the overall strength of the martial soul is improved. Hardness, toughness, and activity are actually a manifestation of the strength of the martial soul. Han Tao did not choose penetrating injuries, nor did he dare to choose penetrating injuries. He was a cautious and timid person. He needed to weigh the pros and cons and consider the risks in everything he did. One day and one night, the strength of the blue-silver grass was changing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Congenital weakness has never been a problem. When you find the right path, the light of hope will guide you forward. 2 months of earth-shaking changes. Ning Rongrong left the sect and went to find new partners according to her ideals. Bumbling around, or perhaps with some guidance, she came to Shrek Academy, an academy with a terrible education level but extremely outrageous luck. When Ning Fengji learned about the members of Shrek Academy, he was silent. 3 people with full innate soul power, 2 from the royal family of the Xingluo Empire, and 1 with a mutant spirit. You should know that the golden generation of the Spirit Hall and the Royal Elite Academy of the Tiando Empire could not find a single person with full innate soul power. With such a huge resource, there was no full soul power. In this small and shabby academy, 3 dragons and phoenixes appeared at the same time. Therefore, Ning Rongrong was allowed to enroll, and a letter was sent to Flanders, asking him to take good care of his daughter. Without too much entanglement, the child grew up and had to experience it after all. Secondly, Han Tao broke through. Yes, in 2 months, Han Tao's soul power level reached level 24, according to the judgment of perception and the verification of data. Han Tao's physical growth this time was a full 1.5 data. Soul power and mental power cannot be accurately perceived. But it can be roughly judged that the same benefits as physical strength have been obtained. The attribute of level growth is equal to the multiplication of the growth base and the soul master's rank. Based on the value of his own growth, Han Tao can judge that the basic growth base of his blue-silver grass has reached 0.3, in addition to the 0.2 additional growth base of Guzhu. It has already caught up with Xiao Qinyu's ordinary martial soul. Blue-silver grass is a useless martial soul, which is extremely weak by nature. Once this kind of martial soul finds a way to evolve, it is very easy to improve in the early stage. It's time to start the adaptation of blue-silver grass to various elements. Under the same perimeter, the area of a square is larger than that of a rectangle, and the same is true for martial souls. After completing the adaptation to external injuries, you can start to adapt to the elements, from shallow to deep, step by step. Chapter 35 Yang Wudi's Arrival. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. 2 months, 2 whole months. Do you know how much sadness and sorrow Ning Tian had in the small dark room? At this moment, through his resolute will and the unremitting efforts of the elders guarding the hall, Ning Tian scored 60 points. Finally out. Throwing away the book in his hand, throwing away his worries, taking out the VIP gold card of the club, going out to have a good time, making up for the loneliness of 2 months. Ning Tian, that before he could be happy for long, a voice stopped him. Gu Rong, Bon Douluo. His face was slightly red, as if he had just quarreled, and there was anger in his eyes. Looking at Ning Tian, his tone was unquestionable. Ning Tian, I caught you. Go to the small dark room and reflect for 2 months. He didn't say the reason. If Ning Tian dared to talk back, humph. Why 2 months? Because Jian Douluo locked him up for 2 months. Am I Bon Douluo inferior to him? His pupils were scattered as if they had lost focus, his hands naturally fell down, as if his bones were pulled out, his whole body lost the power to support, and he collapsed to the ground. But I just got out. Ning Tian shouted in his heart. He couldn't defend himself, nor did he dare to defend himself. Ning Tian could of course tell Gu Rong that this was the promise of the sect master. He might let him go for a short time because of his face by using the status of the sect master to pressure him, but, after that, Gu Rong would teach him what a title Douluo is. After a long time, Ning Tian walked slowly to the door of the small dark room in a daze. Didn't you just get out? Why do you suddenly miss home? The guard joked curiously. I may have to stay for another 2 months. Ning Tian's tone was lost. Before he knew it, Ning Tian returned to the small dark room. Gu Rong found Ning Tian and gave him a casual order, but he ignored it, and he didn't dare to disobey himself. Then, Gu Douluo looked for the next target. Han Tao, but his tone suppressed anger. Han Tao was puzzled. He didn't do anything. Why was Gu Douluo so angry? It seemed that there was some special reason hidden. There is no targeting without reason in this world. You, get out of here and go to the small dark room for 2 months. Not a day less. Then, he grabbed Han Tao's collar and dragged Han Tao to the small dark room. Han Tao was holding a book, The Properties and Characteristics of Elements, in his hand, and was also taken to the small dark room. Keep an eye on them. 2 months of confinement, no one can take him out before the time is up. Gu Rong's tone was extremely tough and unquestionable. The guard quickly opened the door and pushed Han Tao in, then with a bang, the door closed tightly. Ning Tian, you haven't gone out yet. Seeing Ning Tian, Han Tao couldn't help asking. The master kept his promise. According to his expectations, Ning Tian should have been released. Why is he still here? Ah, Han Tao, you are finally here, my good cellmate. Ning Tian jumped up in surprise. You came in too, what else could it be? Neither of them dared to say anything bad about Gu Rong. The concept that title Douluo cannot be insulted has long been deeply imprinted in their hearts. It's so dark, why don't you open a window? The door was closed, and it was pitch black. Han Tao came to the side of the wall and opened the window. For Ning Tian, this is a small dark room, because he always likes to close the windows, making it so dark that it looks so miserable. But for Han Tao, this is just an alternative study room and library. Ning Tian saw Han Tao brought books, and slapped his head. Why didn't he think of it? If I knew it could be done this way, I would have brought in the refined version of 1 or 2 things of imperial romance. Elements, attributes and characteristics. Can you read such a hard book? We are the 7 treasures glazed sect, not the 4 elements academy. Why do we study elements every day? Ning Tian muttered to himself, probably venting his dissatisfaction. Han Tao didn't speak, not because he looked down on Ning Tian, but mainly because Ning Tian might not understand what he explained. In the same scene, the changes in reality can be roughly divided into several categories, including deformation caused by force, soul power fluctuations, and element changes. If you want to deduce the future based on reality and achieve the operations in the auxiliary study book list, elements are an indispensable part. As theoretical research becomes more and more in-depth, you can more clearly feel how difficult it is to deduce the future and how outrageous the concepts in the digital field are. Human brainpower is limited, but the changes in the scene are endless. For example, if you want to study it thoroughly, you need to understand the soul ring when performing a soul skill, how to trigger the soul ring, how to respond to the soul power, what is the internal structure of the soul ring, what is the difference between the structures of different years, and what form the characteristics of the soul ring are presented in, how does soul power enter the soul ring, how to convert soul power into soul skills. If you want to deduce the future, you must master the changes between soul power, soul ring and soul skills, derive the corresponding conversion formula based on the data, and realize the deduction of the real field, the linkage between mental power and soul power, the mutual penetration of physical strength and soul power, and the distribution of air elements in different terrains are all areas that need to be considered when deducing the future. Han Tao said that he knew them, but they didn't know him. Even if he didn't know them, he could still deduce them in the future. A small amount of data can still draw conclusions, but it is undeniable that the deduction based on a narrow sample has a greater probability of leading to wrong directions and distorted conclusions. Just as Han Tao was learning enlightenment in the small black room, the 7 treasures glazed sect welcomed a new guest, Yang Wudi, the Pei clan. Yes, when manager Ning went to recruit him, he agreed without even too much hesitation. The pride of the 4 major families with single attributes cannot defeat the embarrassment of reality and the temptation of interest. Over the years, the life of the Pei clan has not been easy. Medicinal materials cost money, and research on pharmacology costs more money. Even if Yang Wudi is a soul master at the level of Soul Douluo, no money means no money. This is true for Yang Wudi and Flanders. Researching pharmacology and educating students are both big spenders. Without a certain amount of capital, Such things cannot be done at all. The martial soul defect of the soul-breaking spear caused the Pei clan to be unable to break through the title Douluo for life, just like the 7 treasures glazed tower, which could not break through the soul Douluo for life. The encounter between Yang Wudi and Ning Fengji was a fateful sympathy, so, when Yang Wudi met Ning Fengji, he brought the first gift to the Qibao Liuli sect, the knowledge of the fairy grass. Qilua tulip includes its appearance, characteristics, effects, how to pick, how to take, and the use of other adjuvants to assist absorption. Why can soul masters only take one fairy grass? That at this moment, Han Tao was a little confused. Fairy grass is the best of medicinal materials and the best of flowers and plants. Fairy grass is extremely domineering and has extremely strong characteristics that soul masters cannot completely digest. The medicinal properties of the fairy grasses are extremely conflicting. Taking 2 fairy grasses with conflicting medicinal properties at the same time without other methods to reconcile, you can imagine what the result will be. Medicine is 3-point poisonous, and strong medicine is very poisonous. This is what Yang Wudi said. Taking multiple fairy grasses will accumulate toxicity. Of course, the benefits of fairy grass to soul masters' physique, talent, spirit, and soul power are extremely terrifying, and cannot be simply described as huge, that is mighty and long-standing, and it can even complete the leap of innate level, but even so, the value of the fairy grass bonus is still fixed, and there is no percentage increase. Suppose that the properties of the first fairy grass and the second fairy grass are the same. After taking the first fairy grass, the properties are greatly improved. Taking the value after growth as a reference, the benefits of the next fairy grass will decrease proportionally. Taking the first fairy grass, the benefits are significantly stronger than the toxicity. When taking the second one, the benefits are slightly higher than the toxicity. The third and fourth ones, the benefits decrease again and again, and the toxicity accumulates again and again. If that's the case, is there a way to remove the poison of the fairy grass and perfectly refine the medicinal properties? Chapter 36 Mixed Pharmacology. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Yang Wudi brought Ning Fengji information about the fairy grass Qilua tulip and also brought poisonology. The colorful and riotous colors were all created by Yang Wushuang. Yang Wudi could detoxify, so he could naturally make poisons. What does making poisons have to do with Han Tao? Of course it does. The adaptation of the blue-silver grass not only includes external injuries and elements, but also includes toxins. Completing the adaptation to toxins may bring growth in different areas to the blue-silver grass. After coming out of the small dark room and resting for half a day, he found Yang Wudi. I heard that the Pei clan is very good at pharmacology. Today, I see that it is indeed well deserved. Patriarch Yang, can I, a junior, see your results? Yang Wudi concentrated on mixing 3 or 4 kinds of medicinal materials and poisons together, holding a pestle, stirring and grinding. Finding an opportunity, he stepped forward to talk. Seeing someone coming, Yang Wudi stopped stirring and looked up. Han Tao, the disciple of sect master Ning. Han Tao nodded. Come here, I have a gift for you. I heard that the cooperation between the Pei clan and the Qibao Liuli clan was facilitated by you. This bottle of medicine is a gift for you. Yang Wudi walked into the house and opened the wooden window. A strong smell of medicine came from the window. He took out a bottle. The outer shell was made of some special ceramics. There was a label in the middle with a big rainbow on it. This is my masterpiece, the rainbow potion, which can help soul masters cleanse their meridians and marrow and improve their qualifications. Yang Wudi boasted and handed the porcelain bottle to Han Tao. Han Tao first took out a pair of gloves from the package, put them on, and then took the rainbow potion. The sky washed by rain shows a rainbow, and the meridians and marrow are cleansed, and then it is clear. Patriarch Yang, what a good meaning. While praising, he put the bottle into the package. Yang Wudi smiled heartily and didn't pay attention to Han Tao's little movements. Soon, he started the next stage of medicinal material research and development. In the research and development of medicinal materials, any mistake will lead to different results. Yang Wudi has now reached a deep cooperation with Ning Fengji. It is meaningless to destroy it, and it will cause the teacher's dissatisfaction. Yang Wudi seems to be too enthusiastic. Rainbow is a gift given by young Wudi. Is this bottle of medicine poisonous? That this is difficult for Han Tao to guess, because the character who understands pharmacology can hardly be detected by ordinary people. Young Wudi has no need to target me. According to logic, there is no conflict of interest between the two. I am just a level 24 soul master and there is almost no threat, unless he wants to use me to threaten Ning Fengji. Maybe this is a joke. Ning Fengji will be threatened because of Han Tao. You have to choose the right person. Ning Tian and Ning Rongrong are more appropriate. How can you threaten others and use outsiders as bargaining chips? But Hong, this bottle of potion, may be one of the colorful poisons. The colorful poison is composed of 7 different poisons, configured in corresponding proportions. According to the name of the poison, Hong is very likely to occupy a color. Putting away the porcelain bottle, Han Tao dare not bet whether it is a poison. Han Tao does not believe young Wudi, but he must learn pharmacology. Planting fairy grass requires understanding pharmacology, developing blue-silver grass requires understanding pharmacology, and the human meridians are closely related to pharmacology. Developing meditation method, can it be done in a snap? Meridian, pharmacology, cultivation experience, soul power characteristics, these are the foundation of meditation method. No matter whether he has other purposes behind him, but at this moment, it is not the time for both sides to tear each other's faces. Ning Fengji is still in the sect, his existence is like a mountain. Han Tao can let go of his mind a little. In the following time, Han Tao became very, very busy again, busy with learning, busy with thinking, busy with cultivation. The teachers at Tiando Imperial College do not teach pharmacology. Perhaps only the Botanical College has courses on this subject. However, there are books on pharmacology in the library of Tiando Imperial College. There are also books on pharmacology in the library of the sect. With the arrival of young Wudi, such books are increasing rapidly, but for now, they are not as comprehensive as those at Tiando Imperial College. Books only represent theories. Real practice and verification must be carried out in a special venue. Chibao Yoli sect has an experimental field built by young Wudi, a large number of medicinal materials, professional instruments, and a suitable environment. For people who love pharmacology, it is almost impeccable. If Han Tao had told his master that he needed to build such a laboratory for pharmacological research, he would probably not have passed. At this moment, with the help of young Wudi, Han Tao also achieved his goal. Pharmacology is mainly divided into 2 schools, one is pure pharmacology, and the other is mixed pharmacology. Perhaps seeing Han Tao's urgency to study, young Wudi gave a brief introduction to the schools of pharmacology. Pure pharmacology believes that the characteristics of different medicinal materials should be extracted through certain techniques. A is A, B is B. Through a certain formula, elements A, B are mixed to obtain a new element C. Studying extraction techniques, researching mixing formulas, and observing the characteristics of new elements. These are the main themes of the pure pharmacology school. This kind of research is similar to the chemical equations in the previous life, and it is very easy to understand. These contents are not precious, and there are corresponding introductions in the books. Young Wudi is just repeating the narration. Mixed pharmacology regards medicinal materials as a whole, a kind of ecology, not as a few simple elements. Mixed pharmacology studies the chaotic changes caused by the penetration of individual elements into the overall ecology. It can also be the chaotic changes caused by the penetration of ecology into ecology. You can use certain techniques to extract individual properties of medicinal materials, but the human body cannot. The human body is not a single entity, and it must be an ecology composed of multiple elements. Ecology is a whole, it is diversified, chaotic and complex. Soul masters who study this field need innate talents and unique spiritual perception. My brother Yang Wushuang. Yang Wudi did not continue, but Han Tao understood that Yang Wushuang was a genius in studying mixed pharmacology. This part of the theory is not in the books, and he has never even heard of it. We use the idea of pure pharmacology to infiltrate the complex and diverse human body with a single element, and the effect is immediate. But if the time scale is extended, these favorable elements will become similar in a chaotic ecology, and it is difficult to calculate with formulas and draw conclusions. Therefore, my brother came to a conclusion that the extraction of medicinal materials and the refining of elixirs can be taken from pure pharmacology, but once it involves soul masters, mixed pharmacology methods must be used. At this moment, Han Tao is taking notes. Yes, I can't fully understand what Yang Wudi said, nor can I judge the correctness of what he said. Suddenly, Yang Wudi turned his head and stared at Han Tao. It seems that you didn't take the rainbow I gave you. Chapter 37 Blue-Silver Origin. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Yang Wudi shook his head, stared at the front with a lonely look, and sighed. I know what you are afraid of. Han Tao remained silent anyway. He couldn't eat that bottle of strange stuff, which was not sure whether it was a pill or some liquid. Starving to death, dying outside, or jumping from here, it was impossible. You are afraid that I will poison you. There is nothing wrong with being cautious, so I won't blame you for it. Yang Wudi is very paranoid, but he is very straightforward. He said it directly. I can tell you clearly that the rainbow is essentially a bottle of poison. Han Tao was stunned and couldn't believe it. This was a bit against common sense, brother. This is the Seven Treasures glazed sect. You dare to say it openly that you poison me? Medicine and poison are inseparable. This bottle of rainbow can make you sleep well. You are so tired every day. While you sleep, the toxicity of rainbow stimulates your soul power and forcibly penetrates the Yin meridian in the 8 extraordinary meridians. Han Tao did not believe it and asked, what is the price? Yang Wudi smiled, but this smile was ferocious on his face. Haven't I already said the price? Sleep thoroughly. Rainbow is my masterpiece. It contains 3 different toxins, which will stimulate the middle and tail sections of the Yin meridian respectively, guiding the direction of soul power until it breaks through the Yin meridian. Why do the 3 toxins only work in the middle and tail sections? There is another toxin, Han Tao asked instinctively. It also takes a toxin to make you sleep and freeze. Yang Wudi said calmly, no more words. His attainments in pharmacology are far inferior to Yang Wudi. Give me the rainbow. Looking at Han Tao's expressionless face, Yang Wudi asked for the rainbow back. Obviously, he cared about this bottle of medicine. Han Tao took out his gloves and put them on, took out the bottle and handed it over. Yang Wudi took it, then gently lifted it. The lid of the bottle opened, and the smell of unknown materials inside emanated. He wanted to avoid it, but was stopped by Yang Wudi. Smell, that the vomit after drinking, mixed with the fresh grass fragrance, brewed a boundless bitterness. In addition, there was a hint of blood. The blood smell was very light, and if you didn't smell it carefully, you couldn't feel it at all. After a while, Yang Wudi let go of his hand. Now, do you want to take the rainbow? Han Tao still shook his head, and at this moment he had no desire to take it. It seems that you don't have that kind of spiritual perception. Yang Wudi closed the lid and handed the rainbow to Han Tao again. If you believe me, or if you are willing to believe me one day in the future. Believe me, the rainbow will not let you down. Spiritual perception is an indispensable talent for studying mixed pharmacology, and Han Tao does not have it. No means no. Money opens the way, and all troubles will be solved. Han Tao understands the essence of martial souls, and can use money to hire soul masters of different elements to help his martial soul evolve. Among all elements, the fire element is the most harmful to blue-silver grass. Han Tao has tested that a level 10 fire element soul master can easily burn blue-silver grass in the wild, with a little effort. The blue-silver grass will die, and the bones will be crushed to ashes, leaving no roots. Therefore, he can only choose to buy other potions with fire attributes to strengthen his martial soul. The fire lizard is only a 100-year soul beast, mainly distributed around the crater, because it has been stained with fire due to its long-term survival. Its saliva contains a trace of fire attribute and trace amounts of or metals, which have certain applications in the field of weapon refining. The knowledge of pharmacology has produced practical significance. The saliva of the fire lizard is a relatively good material for evolving martial spirits. He found several blue-silver grass soul masters, tested the effect, and began his own evolution. Yi Lingling, I'm here to ask you for help. That I came to the library of Tiando Royal Academy again, and saw the quiet woman in the corner of the desk next to me. Yes. Yi Lingling agreed. Han Tao summoned his martial spirit, blue silver grass. Compared with 3 months ago, the blue silver grass at this time has vigorous vitality, dense stems and leaves, and is more than 1 level higher in strength. He took out the saliva of the fire lizard and poured it on the blue silver grass. The destructive power of the fire element on the blue silver grass is extremely terrifying. Han Tao quickly circulated his soul power and displayed his first soul skill fluorescence. Yi Lingling bends her fingers, and the white and powdery 9-heart begonia is summoned out, and the soul power spreads in the air. Third soul skill, healing. Destruction and healing, withering and vitality, the two forces are intertwined on the blue silver grass, playing corresponding roles. Time passes bit by bit, and Yi Lingling's soul power is gradually consumed, but at the same time, the tolerance of the blue silver grass to fire is gradually improving. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. Okay, let's stop here. As he spoke, Han Tao put away his martial soul. The effect of the fire lizard saliva has been exhausted. If you want to get further adaptation, you need more powerful fire element materials. Then can Han Tao hire a fire attribute soul master next? Of course not. Martial soul evolution is not that simple. A fire burns a piece of blue silver grass, and those who survive are considered adapted. That's not called adaptation, that's survivor bias. Adaptation is about gradual progress, bit by bit, and moving forward slowly. After the fire lizard saliva has run out of effect, the next step is naturally to use the fire lizard's blood. Yi Lingling, thank you. Facing the cold and calm eyes, Han Tao expressed his gratitude again. She nodded slightly, turned around and left without saying a word. In the Douluo continent, there are mainly 7 attributes. The low-level attributes are water, fire, wind, and earth, and the high-level attributes are light, darkness, and space. Han Tao found in the tests of other blue silver grass soul masters that their blue silver grass seemed unable to adapt to the high-level elemental attributes. Too short a time. Not enough energy level. These may be the reasons. The transformation of blue silver grass is not achieved overnight, but has a long history. Over a long period of time, the blue silver essence is consumed bit by bit to adapt to the elements. Yes, in order to complete the adaptation, the blue silver essence needs to be consumed. Han Tao recorded the changes in his martial soul, sorted it out, and then began to summarize the conclusions. Take out the diary and write down. After testing, for the same damage, the more blue silver essence, the greater the martial soul change. For the same origin, the higher the degree of damage, the greater the change of the martial soul. Conclusion 1. The ability to adapt is positively correlated with the origin of the martial soul and the degree of damage. Conclusion 2. Adaptation will consume the origin of the martial soul. Before Han Tao was locked up in a small black room, he had consumed less than 70% of his martial soul origin. After 2 months, he came out and his blue-silver origin had recovered to half. The recovery rate is very slow. In 2 months, it only recovered less than 20%, so, he can draw a conclusion. Conclusion 3. The blue-silver origin can be consumed and recovered. Conclusion 4. When a soul master is practicing, a very small amount of soul power will follow the martial soul and be converted into blue-silver origin. At this time, Han Tao made a guess. Will the speed of soul master's practice affect the recovery effect of the origin? Chapter 38, Changing Rongrong. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. A red man is redder than a black man. The reason why Ning Rongrong was full of vulgar things when she entered Shrek was that she was influenced by Ning Tian. Han Tao was an unexpected person. His appearance brought different changes to the sect. Han Tao and Ning Rongrong rarely communicated, but the little girl's mind was always delicate. Han Tao had never looked at her straight in the eye. The superficial flattery was just because of the status of the sect master's daughter. Therefore, Ning Rongrong hated Han Tao. After the year-end assessment, she deliberately cried for a long time. As expected, Grandpa Jian and Grandpa Gu avenged her, which made her a little happy. Ning Rongrong really wanted to know why, on what basis, he dared to look at her like this. I vaguely remember that in May last year, the sect assessment. Ning Rongrong, 60 points, Thanks to the efforts of the elders guarding the hall, she got 60 points, as usual. Han Tao nodded gently. Unlike usual, Han Tao's recognition this time was real. This was an accident. Han Tao believed that Ning Rongrong barely passed the exam with her own efforts, plus the efforts of the elders guarding the hall. This nod was a recognition of her efforts, from the heart. What a joke. Ning Rongrong is Ning Rongrong, how could she work hard? The time of this assessment happened to be the time when Xue Qinghe came to the Seven Treasures Glazed Tower to become a disciple. If the daughter of the sect master failed the exam, it would be a loss of face for the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, so the elders guarding the hall gave Ning Rongrong a passing score, but it was this perfect misunderstanding that led Ning Rongrong's life to a completely different direction. It's just a little higher score, what's so superior about it? Humph, that this misunderstanding made Ning Rongrong think that Han Tao looked down on her because her grades were better than hers. As long as she surpassed him, this situation would disappear. At this moment, the gears of fate slowly turned. The first pass was a misunderstanding, the second pass was a talent, the third pass was hard work. In the third sect theory test, Ning Rongrong's theory score was no longer 60 points, but 61 points, the same as Han Tao's. This score means that she did not rely on the efforts of the elders guarding the hall, but completely relied on her own theoretical level to obtain it. With expectation, she looked in a certain direction, wanting to celebrate the joy of victory, but that position was always empty. This time happened to be the time when Han Tao took the prince's token and went to Tiando Royal Academy for further study. Ning Rongrong was very depressed. Grandpa Jian and Grandpa Gu comforted her for a long time before she calmed down. Man should be looked at with new eyes after 3 days of separation. How much can a person change in 7 months? Diligent in learning and practicing hard, she quietly broke through level 30 at night when Han Tao was unknown. Shrek Academy. Ning Rongrong stopped looking at the tattered sign above her head. The entrance examination of Shrek was not difficult. With Ning Rongrong's level of auxiliary soul master, she passed the admission process very easily. This time, also in Shrek, the little witch behaved much more modestly. She didn't say anything rude, or even too much. She chose to hide herself, pretend to be an ordinary person. Well, an ordinary, 12-year-old 3-ring 7-treasure glazed tower spirit master. Yes, she is learning from Han Tao and exerting her talent. She is observing, analyzing, and thinking. What did Han Tao do when he entered the 7-treasure glazed sect? Facing a brand new environment, Han Tao's way of doing things and behavior are undoubtedly the best reference plan. Tang San and Xiao Wu, 2 innate full soul power. The last name is Tang. Is it Haotian sect? What? The martial soul is blue silver grass. Ning Rongrong hates Han Tao. What does blue silver grass look like and what data it has? Ning Rongrong knows it very well. Blue silver grass has innate full soul power. Can blue silver grass rise to level 29? What kind of soul power, strength and physical fitness does a level 29 blue silver grass spirit master show? Ning Rongrong has long remembered it in her heart. Therefore, she was extremely sure that Tang San's spirit was not the blue silver grass. Maybe it's like Xue Qinghe and Bibi Dong. Ning Rongrong was not sure about the secret disguise and twin spirits, nor did she care. She looked at Tang San twice more, just because of the blue silver grass. Dai Mubai and Zhu Zhuqing, 2 members of the royal family of the Star Do Empire, seemed to have tiger and cat spirits. I can't remember clearly. Ning Rongrong patted her forehead. She had a short time to learn theory, and most of the knowledge was just reviewed once, and she was not impressed. Ning Rongrong was a little disgusted with Oscar and Ma Hongjun, a wretched spirit, a dissolute fat man. Ning Rongrong's evaluation was that they were not as good as Ning Tian, Soto City, the great fighting spirit arena. Today, I will teach you the first lesson. You are monsters, and monsters naturally have monster teaching methods. Ferland made his classic remarks calmly. Yes, the first lesson of Shrek Academy is to take these 12-year-old children to the Great Fighting Soul Arena for combat training. The Great Fighting Soul Arena does not belong to the Spirit Hall or the 2 empires. It is a relatively fair place. Even if you kill a disciple of a large sect, you don't have to worry about being retaliated. Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong suddenly doubted whether it was right for her to join this shabby academy. Could it be that she made a wrong judgment? Under Furlan's arrangement, Ning Rongrong registered the Iron Fighting Soul badge in the Great Fighting Soul Arena. This is very simple, you just need to pay money to do it. Registering the badge, of course. Fighting on the field, absolutely not. Ning Rongrong took out 200 gold soul coins and asked Ma Hongjun to fight a fight for her. The Great Fighting Soul Arena in Soto City is mostly fair and just, and there is almost no phenomenon of fighting for others. But who is Ning Rongrong? She is the daughter of Ning Fengji. Under the Ad Money Offensive, the Fighting Soul Arena acquiesced. Implicit rules and explicit rules are mutually opposed and coexist with each other. Although they cannot be put on the table, they are everywhere. Only by properly utilizing your own advantages can you be like a fish in water. This is also what Han Tao taught her. After Han Tao joined the sect, he and Ning Fengji had a confrontation all the time. As a bystander, although I can't see the intention behind it, I have more or less grown up. Ning Rongrong leaned against the railing of the Fighting Spirit Arena, and took in the overall situation from the high platform. This is the place where Daddy likes to stay the most. As his eyes moved, he stopped at the combination of Dai Mubai and Zhu Zhuqing. Dai Mubai, Zhu Zhuqing, what do they have? That they are the royal family of the Xinglua Empire. Even if they are not in power now, they naturally have the resources of the Xinglua Empire. What are resources? They include knowledge, weapons, skills, medicinal materials, and connections. The atmosphere in the big Fighting Spirit Arena was very noisy. People in the audience were shouting crazily. Ning Rongrong stood quietly in it, which made her look out of place. Next is the 3-5 combination. In the big Fighting Spirit Arena, the commentator on the stage shouted loudly. Tang San should be from a big force. This is the conclusion Ning Rongrong came to. She had never seen Tang San's hidden weapon before. It is impossible for a small workshop or a small force to make such a sharp hidden weapon. Ning Rongrong even sent a letter to her father, describing the shape, effect, and degree of terror of the hidden weapon, but the reply was that she knew nothing. On the Fighting Spirit stage, Tang San's voice came. First Soul Skill, Blue-Silver Entanglement. Chapter 39, Ning Rongrong becomes a disciple. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ning Rongrong, I asked you to go to the Great Soul Fighting Arena yesterday. Did you go? The next day, Farrinder approached Ning Rongrong and came to investigate. Of course I went, but I didn't play. Ning Rongrong explained very calmly. Why? Farrinder felt that his dignity had been violated, and there was a trace of anger in his words. Ning Fengji had entrusted him to take care of Rongrong, but it was obvious that he didn't take it to heart. I'm afraid of death. That's the perfect excuse. Ning Rongrong, do you know what our school motto is? Just as Ning Rongrong was hesitating, Ma Hongjun shouted from the side. You are mediocre if you dare not cause trouble. Farrinder nodded and said. Yes, it's mediocre to dare not cause trouble. If a soul master is afraid of this and that, how can he grow into a genius? Farrinder pointed at the school motto on the teaching building in an awe-inspiring manner. Oh? Ning Rongrong rolled her eyes in confusion and repeated, is it mediocre if he doesn't dare to cause trouble? Yes, this is the motto of our Shrek Academy. If you don't agree with it or are unwilling to obey orders, you can return to your 7 treasures glazed sect. As he spoke, he turned his head and looked around, and found that one student was missing. Dai Mubai, where is Oscar? Dai Mubai shook his head, I don't know, maybe I overslept. Outside, urgent news about Oscar came. I broke through level 30. The joys and sorrows between people are not the same. When everyone was immersed in the joy of Oscar's breakthrough, Ning Rongrong began to doubt her choice again. Is it really right for me to come to Shrek Academy? She was hesitating and thinking. Shrek Academy, you can't learn anything useful. There's not even a mimicry training ground. Meditation is not taught in the academy at all. While thinking, she habitually turned her head and looked in a certain direction. Empty. Homesick. Ning Rongrong, who originally wanted to prove herself, suddenly missed her days in the sect and mustered up her courage. Dean Farrinder, I want to take a leave. A sudden sound interrupted everyone's joy. Farrinder frowned when he heard this. Originally I just wanted to PUA for a while, but I didn't want Ning Rongrong to actually drop out of school. You must know that after Ning Rongrong entered the school, the Qibao Glazed sect gave Shrek Academy a large sum of money. If she drops out of school, there will be nothing in the future, but fortunately, she just asked for leave. Tang San shook his head. He felt that this little girl had a weak character and couldn't bear any blow. Ma Hongjun felt a little regretful. If Ning Rongrong left, his big benefactor would be gone. 2 months. Ning Rongrong's tone was calm, as if everything was insignificant. Rongrong, maybe I sounded a little harsh just now. Do you want to think about it again? Farrinder walked to Ning Rongrong and tried to win back, but how could he win back a heart that had already drifted far away? Ning Rongrong refused. She ignored Farrinder's expression and left Shrek Academy without any scruples. Ning Rongrong believes that Shrek School is a mess, and the dean is also a mess. I don't have many teachers, but my students are excellent. Turning the bracelet on his wrist, a bright energy was transmitted to Ning Fengji. Sword Douluo hurriedly came and picked up Ning Rongrong. After returning to the Qibao Glazed sect, I didn't know why, but I wasn't happy. 2 days ago, her father had just praised her, and Rongrong's theoretical level had improved a lot. Yang Wudi from the Pa clan came to the Qibao Glazed sect and said that she had a talent for pharmacology and wanted to accept her as a disciple. She agreed. She didn't know why she agreed. It was all based on her feelings. Ning Rongrong is a weapon spirit, and Yang Wudi is also a weapon spirit. Under the guidance of Yang Wudi, Ning Rongrong began to get involved in pharmacology and studied it very seriously. But even so, she was still unhappy. Rongrong, you are an auxiliary soul master and a weapon soul. Why do you want to study pharmacology in the field of plants? That he called Rongrong aside and asked. After thinking for a long time, Ning Rongrong replied. Perhaps Master Yang said I have talent. In fact, Ning Rongrong couldn't explain why, but she just wanted to learn pharmacology for no reason. Ning Fengji would not believe her daughter's lies about talent. What did she learn that she didn't have talent for? Could it be that if she studies books as a supplement, her efficiency will be lower? Okay, Dad, I don't actually object to your choice, but you must also pay attention to your health. Look at you now, you are so depressed and you almost have dark circles under your eyes. Ning Fengji took out a double-sided mirror inlaid with gems from the drawer on the side and handed it to Rongrong. The sunlight reflected Ning Rongrong's face, and her delicate and pure eyes revealed deep exhaustion. Have you encountered any troubles recently? Ning Rongrong didn't answer, she just had a grimace on her face. No one could guess what she was thinking. Ning Fengji was a little silent. At this moment, he felt weak. As a father, he has never encountered this kind of situation, but at this moment, when both of them were at a loss, Han Tao came over. Ning Rongrong put away her bitter face. She told herself secretly that she was in such a bad state that it was not suitable to show it to outsiders. Master, did Patriarch Yang give the information about Chilua Tulip? Ning Rongrong turned around and hid aside. Chilua Tulip is a fairy grass that Ning Rongrong had come into contact with from Yang Wudi, but she did not take it seriously because it was doubtful whether the fairy grass existed. At this moment, Han Tao mentioned Chilua Tulip, which showed that the fairy grass really existed. Ning Rongrong suddenly took it seriously. Ning Fengji picked up a teacup, poured hot water on it, and brewed a pot of meditation tea. Han Tao had not known about it before and did not know the price of meditation tea. Later, Ning Tian gave him a popular science. 1 gram of meditation tea costs 3,000 gold soul coins. The ones in Ning Fengji's teacup cost at least 10,000. Handing the teacup to Han Tao, he answered casually. Yes, I already know how to pick and use Chilua tulips. Then next, can you tell me where it is? Han Tao took out a map, which marked the general distribution of forces in Douluo continent. Ice and Fire Yin Ai is one of the 3 treasure pots of Douluo continent. Ice and Fire Yin Ai is a unique spring eye, with twins in one eye, and the 2 yins counteract each other. Find the Ice and Fire Yin Ai, which contains not only Chilua tulips, but also other fairy herbs, and a lot of precious and expensive medicinal materials. It's much more expensive than your meditation tea. As he spoke, Han Tao drank the meditation tea in one gulp. A cow chewing a peony. A rough pig can't eat fine bran, Ning Fengji commented on this. Chilua tulip can not only evolve the 7 treasures glazed tower, but also have the combat power of plant-type soul beasts. The Yin-Yang Eye of Ice and Fire is located in the center of the Sunset Forest. There are many poisonous barriers there. Only by passing through these poisonous barriers can you see the true appearance of the Yin-Yang Eye of Ice and Fire. Although Han Tao has pointed out the location, the Sunset Forest is still very large, and the poisonous barrier in the center is a very wide area. It is not easy to find the Yin-Yang Eye of Ice and Fire through the poisonous barrier. Sunset Forest, Yin-Yang Eye of Ice and Fire. Ning Rongrong hid aside and quietly wrote down the 2 pieces of information Han Tao said. Chapter 40 Sunset Forest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rongrong, why are you unhappy? Douluo walked quietly to Ning Rongrong's side, looking at her lonely look. His tone was a little distressed. There was some kind of unsolvable sadness between Ning Rongrong's brows, tightly clenched into a ball. Let Grandpa Gu guess, is it Han Tao who made the little princess angry? The light in her eyes flashed, or maybe he thought of something and didn't answer. That's good. Grandpa Bone will avenge you and lock Han Tao for another 2 months. Ning Rongrong remained silent. It doesn't seem to be the case. Could it be that your anger towards Ning Tian hasn't gone away yet? Ning Rongrong remained silent. How about Grandpa Bone arresting Ning Tian and locking him up for another 2 months? Ning Rongrong shook his head. Why bother with so many idiots? It's better to lock up Han Tao and Ning Tian for 10 days and a half. Sword Douluo spoke from the side. Ning Rongrong nodded reluctantly and whispered back, okay. If he was locked up in a small dark room, would he no longer be able to be with Yi Lingling? At this moment, she admitted that she was a little selfish. Bone Douluo was very angry. He had made so many suggestions, but Ning Rongrong had not adopted them. Sword Douluo only said 1 sentence, and Rongrong agreed, so, he came to the door angrily. Ning Tian. Ning Tian, let me catch you. Go to the dark room and reflect for 2 months. Han Tao. You, go to the dark room for 2 months, not a day less. Bone Douluo was quite angry. He locked Han Tao and Ning Tian into a small dark room, but turned around and encountered the sect leader. Uncle Bones, come with me. After learning the news about the Ice and Fire Eyes, I naturally would not let this opportunity pass me by. By chance, I met an angry Bone Douluo on the road, so I wanted to take him to the Sunset Forest to explore. What's up? If it's not something important, don't bother me. I'm going back to comfort Rongrong now. Ning Fengji stopped him and said. It's business, and it's very important. Han Tao gave information that there is a unique spring in the poison barrier area in the center of the Sunset Forest, which is called the Eye of Ice and Fire. There are Chilua tulips inside, a fairy grass that can evolve the 7 treasures glazed pagoda. Ning Fengji repeated what Han Tao said to Bone Douluo. After hearing this, Bone Douluo thought for 2 seconds and then agreed. After the discussion, Ning Fengji took out a map and found the location of Sunset Forest. Early morning, sunset in the forest, the 7 unique flowers of green phosphorus, like stars holding the moon, bloom in the center of the forest. It is surrounded by layers of poisonous barriers, which cover large tracts of forest. Presumably the rumored 2-dimensional Eye of Ice and Fire is within this poisonous barrier. No wonder no one has discovered this place for so many years. Ning Fengji and Gu Rong came to the edge of the poison barrier and couldn't help but sigh when they saw the scenery here. Ning Fengji did not go directly into it to search, but instead walked around the poison barrier, then took out the map of Douluo continent, Sunset Forest and drew a circle, tear the map apart, peel off the parts outside the circle, and crush it. This map is actually very expensive, but the Qibao glazed sect is rich, so it's not that bad. Okay, let's go in and explore. He took out a high-level detoxification pill, swallowed it in his mouth, and then said to Gu Rong. There's no need to be so cautious, Gu Rong replied, I am a title Douluo, so there is nothing to be afraid of when I come to a small forest for a stroll. Ning Fengji smiled faintly. He was the sect leader of the Qibao glazed sect. Naturally, he needed to consider many aspects and not act on his own initiative. As a level 79, Soul Saint, the poison barrier on the outside poses no threat at all, but he was not sure whether the internal toxins in the middle of this forest would increase exponentially, and the detoxification pill could reduce these risks. Whenever Ning Fengji explores an area, he tears off part of the map and crushes it with his soul power, step by step, bit by bit, the entire foggy map is covered. Without a sudden voice, Ning Fengji's exploration was interrupted. A wave of air containing soul power blew away a small part of the dense fog, and a green light appeared in the fog. Coming towards the wind was an old man with dark green hair and a pair of emerald eyes, looking at the two of them sadly. The Jade Phosphorus Snake King is possessed. Douluo summoned his martial spirit, and the powerful and evil Jade Phosphorus Snake condensed from his right hand. Poison Douluo. Ning Fengji recognized his identity. Bone Dragon. 7 Treasures Glazed Tower. Ning Fengji and Gu Rong didn't dare to underestimate them when they saw this. They quickly summoned their martial spirits and hung them in the air. 7 Treasures Glazed Sect, why do you come to Sunset Forest? Do you know that this is my territory? Both are titled Douluo. Douluo is the weakest that he couldn't beat Gu Rong in a duel, let alone with Ning Fengji's support, therefore, his tone was slightly weak. Using domineering words is just showing off. Ning Fengji was confused, but his heart skipped a beat. If the ice and fire eyes were occupied by a titled Douluo, the immortal grass in them might have been destroyed long ago. I came here this time to find a spring where ice and fire exist side by side. Poison Douluo took 2 steps back, the poison barrier covering his figure. If a fight breaks out, you can run away at any time. That's my secluded place. Why do you want to find my secluded place? Under the cover of the poisonous barrier, Douluo became more confident and asked. Your hermitage. There is no name written here. Why is it considered your hermitage? Gu Rong took a step forward, and the strong pressure of the martial spirit swept away and hit Douluo's body. Ning Fengji stretched out his hand and stopped Gu Rong's progress. In as calm a tone as possible, he said. Poison Douluo, our purpose is just to get a medicinal plant. If he could get out of the way, that would be great. In this poisonous land, killing a titled Douluo who has lived for a long time is as difficult as climbing to the sky. When Douluo faces a titled Douluo, his fighting ability may not be good, but the deterrent remains. If he was forced to put down his face and target the juniors in the sect, not many forces could bear it. What medicine do you want? Seeing Ning Fengji giving in, Poison Douluo relaxed slightly. Medicinal plant is acceptable. Not sure, I need to see that spring. No. Poison Douluo refused. The poison in his body has been integrated with the martial spirit. The poison spread in his body and penetrated deep into his bones. His ability to survive depends entirely on the suppression of the 2 eyes of ice and fire, otherwise he would have died long ago. It doesn't matter whether he dies or not, but what will Douluo do after he dies? Poison Douluo, you seem to have never taken our 7 Treasures Glazed Sect seriously. Before Ning Fengji could say anything else, Gu Rong exploded on the spot. The 4th soul skill, Void Domain. As the 4th purple soul ring lights up, the soul power spreads like a spider web in the space. When it reaches its extreme, a specific soul power structure will be formed. Ning Fengji quickly summoned the martial soul, and used the enhanced soul skill before the ancient Banyan soul skill was generated. The 7 treasures turn out to be glass, and the 7 treasures have names. The second is speed. The third is soul. The speed of the void domain suddenly accelerated, and the surge of soul power spread in all directions. Under the pressure of the strong aura, the surrounding jade phosphorus 7 absolute flowers exploded, and the thick poisonous gas melted into the poison barrier pass. At this point, the field is formed. Douluo fled in a hurry, but the domain had already wrapped him up. The second soul skill, Thorn of the Void. Gu Rong stretched out his hand and waved, his robes swayed with the airflow, and spikes containing space power appeared in the air, locking onto Poison Douluo's body. Admit your mistake now and tell me the news about the ice and fire eyes, and I will choose to let you go. Standing in the sky, looking down at the jade phosphorus snake emperor, he gave him one last chance. The peak Douluo's soul power fluctuated, piercing through the overlapping poison barriers, crossing mountains and rivers, crossing canyons, and reaching the nearest town. At this time, a man raised his head. Is there a tidal Douluo fighting nearby, that her charming face and delicate voice are like a chrysanthemum about to bloom?